And this shot I thought qualified as a portrait. This is a photo by Marcia Gruberman. Marcia actually is based in, not sure if she lives in Secaucus, but she works in Secaucus, New Jersey. Great shot of her husky she shot in her backyard. We can assume it's American flag in the background. Just posed the dog, beautiful light. It's kind of overcast, not overcast, but she may have, it's diffuse light. She's either got him under some kind of a canopy or something like that, so it's not harsh. It's not, you know, you can see detail in the areas of the hairs and that sort of thing, as opposed to it being blanched right out if it was a shot in direct sunlight. Another a great sort of portrait of an animal. This time by Bob Blanken. As I mentioned, Bob teaches DPA classes in Washington, D.C., and this is an orangutan, obviously. And just a nice, kind of beautiful, sort of somber kind of shot of an orangutan. You got a little bit of green coming in here, some reeds or something. Just kind of caught enough detail in the eye to make it legible. It's very, very important with portraits, either of people or animals. The eyes are very important. If somebody, I'm not saying in all cases you have to have eyes in the photograph, but if you have eyes in the photograph, it's very often best to have them be in focus, be the sharpest point. People like looking at them. This is a great shot by Laura Phibson, and Laura is a student of Jessica Lifland in San Francisco. And I thought this kind of qualified as a portrait as well, in that you know, we've often seen photographs like this of seals or sea lions and otters and that sort of thing, and they're very often just playing. They're not actually paying any attention to the camera. This guy is just sort of like looking. He's looking directly at you. He's looking at the viewer. So it becomes a little more of a portrait as opposed to just a wildlife shot, which I kind of liked it for that reason. And beautiful little swirling patterns. Look at these beautiful ripples here. This all helps. It kind of makes an oval, like a semicircle, in the frame, which brings your eye into the animal. This is a photograph by Tammy Hammond, another student. She's a student of Russ Burden in Denver. Beautiful shot. Just not a lot of space around in this particular case, but it's definitely just a very tight portrait of, we can assume, her dog, or obviously a dog. And he's looking at you with very soulful eyes, a little bit of snow on his nose and that kind of thing. I just like this as a very simple, direct kind of shot. This photo was great. This is a photo from Frank Seitman. Frank teaches DPA classes in Boston, and we've got a great lizard here. Beautiful colors. Frank's really given us very shallow depth of field. I don't have the metadata in front of me here, but based on this, I can assume it's like a 2.8 or f2, that sort of thing, just to get in that tight. And you can see it's very, very sharp in around the eyes, and then even just the back of the head, and even just part of the nose is starting to fall out of focus. So the eyes, again, for a portrait, it's very helpful to have the eye in focus. This is a great shot by Matt Lasky. Matt is a student of Milton Heiberg in Orlando, and actually took a workshop with me here in New York as well. What I liked about this shot is just sort of the very atypical kind of framing. Obviously you can see the flamingo's body over here, its neck comes sweeping down and then up and then around, and it made this very poetic kind of shape, very, very interesting. And there was enough there's enough background, even though it's tight, it's sort of squeezed in there. There's enough background and also a contrasting color. It's sort of blue aqua kind of color contrasts spectacularly with the bright orangey pink of the flamingo. This a great portrait of a dog. Tiago Nunez is one of the DPA instructors in New York City, and I mentioned earlier NIC software classes that DPA is offering. This is specifically, I got my notes here. Tiago has applied some NIC software. One of the programs is Silver Effects Pro, and he's applied a bit of film grain. You can see it here, so you can add just sort of dial in what film you want it to look like. It's great. A lot of people especially when digital came out, the one thing they missed was that look of film, the feel of film, the texture, the grain. And now you can add that digitally. It's great. You just quite literally click, open up a list, which film do you want to look like. And so there's not much you can't do now. Here's a section on NIC software. As I mentioned, free NIC software workshops. Call DPA, the toll-free number 1-877-372-2231. It's also on the website. And sign up for one of those NIC classes. These the next couple I've got coming up are all run through NIC software. And this series is from Bobby Goodrich. Bobby's a new photographer for DPA. She's just joined us very recently. I'm not even sure if she's even started teaching classes yet, although I think that's coming up very soon. And she's teaching classes in Phoenix. So you can see a lot of, maybe you're not familiar with the software, what's possible, but for people who are, you can see there's a lot of work been done on this shot. I'm going to jump forward to a before and after shot. The top one, obviously, the before. The bottom is run through quite a bit of software. Excuse me. Bobby is making it essentially into like an artwork, like a painting. She's taking what is actually a interesting photograph, beautiful background, you know, the horses running, all that stuff. It's really quite impressive as it's on its own. But then you apply the software, and it becomes this amazing sort of fantasy world, if you will. Another photo before and after by Bobby Goodrich. Now this shot up above, we've got some great action going on with the horse. You know, it's great. You can see all this dust he's kicking up, and you know, you can see the tension in the limbs, and this horse is like pretty much near falling over, that sort of thing. So it's a great shot of the horses, but the background's a little messy. It's a little distracting. You get the wires, the poles, that sort of thing. And with the software, Bobby's able to, again, make it into something entirely different, make it very much like a painting, a very sort of fantasy world. Same thing here. We've got another before and after shot of some elephants. And you can see Bobby's adjusted the color down here, got rid of all the green, and just sort of given us like a brown sort of, not monotone, there's color in there, but just a very limited palette. Very interesting kind of shot. And gives it some serious depth, like some you know, right away I'm looking at these elephants and trying, what's going on here? It's like, it takes not an ordinary shot, but takes a good shot and makes it into something entirely different. Same thing here, another shot from Bobby, and you can see she's got a tighter crop of the lion, sort of pulled in something from here, really boosted up the color, the saturation, sharpened it up, and giving you a lot of detail in here. Like even right in here, you just see where the whiskers come out. Here it's very flat on this part of but here they just pop out. Really darken up that background to make the line much more menacing looking. This is a different approach with the NIC software. This is a photo from Frank Vronsky. Frank teaches DPA classes in New Jersey. Specifically, he holds them at his facility in Belle Meade. He's got a nice converted barn for a studio and does a lot of location shoot. This was a photo of an elephant at the State Fair. I'm assuming the New Jersey State Fair. And he's again run it through. We've seen the Silver Effects software on a couple other samples prior. The other thing we're offering, as I mentioned, the free use of lens babies in a lot of the workshops. For anyone who doesn't know what a lens baby is, you're looking at a couple samples here. They got 3 different models. The most common is the Composer, which is this one here. And the lens baby will give you a very, very sharp, what they call a sweet spot. You can see in here the eye of the turtle, which Frank described as a neighbor, and then it starts to really blur and go quite spectacular, sort of lack of breadth of focus. You get a very sharp center, and then as you go out side to side, it gets less in focus. And as you go out front and back, it gets less in focus.